Anxiety. It's something we all feel at one point or another in modern life. From the constant pressures of work, the weight of social expectations, to the endless choices we have to make every day. It often feels like there's no way to escape the stress. We strive for balance, but instead we end up overwhelmed. But what if the answer isn't to do more, but to step back and look at things differently? What if there's a way to live in harmony, not just with the outside world, but with our own inner struggles? That's where Taoism offers a unique perspective. In Taoist philosophy, anxiety isn't seen as something to simply push away or ignore. Instead, it's viewed as a natural result of living out of sync with our true nature. In this video, my Taoist master, Master Xuan Chu, a Taoist cultivator with decades of experience, will share profound insights into how Taoism addresses anxiety in the modern world, offering reflections and practical takeaways you can apply in your everyday life. We are Shengxuan Taoism, and we believe that Taoist cultivation can transform your perspective on life, bringing more fulfillment, health, peace, and harmony. At a deeper level, Taoism can elevate the nature of existence, helping us align with our true essence. My name is Taoist Chao. I'm a Taoist cultivator from China, with years of experience living and studying in the United States and Canada. I have personally faced the struggles and pressures of modern life, and I found healings and clarity through Taoism. Through this channel, I hope to translate and convey the profound practices and insights of Taoism in a way that resonates with you. So let's explore how ancient Taoist wisdom can help us navigate the complex and often chaotic world we live in today. To begin, let's talk about one of the major sources of anxiety, our desires. Modern life often pushes us to want more success, more comfort, more recognition. But the Taoist approach isn't about rejecting all desires completely. Instead, it's about understanding how unchecked desires can disrupt our inner balance and contribute to our stress.
那怎么去修身养性啊？那道家其实讲从《道德经》开始往后讲的很多，就是总结下来就节欲、节制欲望、减少欲望。在《清净经》里边讲的就非常的直接嘛。开篇就是讲人神好静而心扰之，人心好静而欲牵之。所以他后面讲常能遣其欲而心自静，诚其心而神自清，自然六欲不生，三毒消灭，所以不能者为心未成，欲未前也。所以其实它这个核心的意思就是你要能够去节制你的欲望，你做你情绪和欲望的主人，而不是他的奴隶。三毒是什么？咱们道家传统讲的和那个佛教的不太一样，佛教贪嗔痴嘛，但是道家讲的其实是对着三失来的，说上失好华饰，中失好滋味，下失好淫欲，这三个东西，这是人的几个基本的欲求。但是道家的思维不是说不能有，不是说不行，你这个断情绝欲，所有都不要。我们一直讲的叫节制，节制欲望，不要过度。那这个度在哪儿呢？在于对你自己已经造成负担和消耗了。那我怎么才知道它是负担还是没有负担？首先你要把当下的这个麻木的状态恢复到有一个自觉自察的一个状态，你先要能感受到自己，然后具体怎么去做，那有很多的方法，细心正念用息法也好然后说存神这些方式都有，甚至是说以及和外部环境山水优美的地方，我们讲地气环境状态和外部这个场去进行一些和合进行一些共振这样的一个状态，合于外境，然后去调理内境。
Taoism teaches moderation, 节欲, or the idea of restraining our desires so that we're no longer slaves to them. Imagine if we could be the masters of our own emotions and desires, rather than being constantly pushed around by them. This is the first step towards cultivating inner peace, learning to be in control rather than being controlled. Desires aren't the only source of anxiety. Another significant source comes from conflicts with the outside world, society, culture, family, and our environment. These external conflicts often put pressure on us, creating tension between who we are and what we feel we must be. These unresolved conflicts can be a major driver of anxiety.
现代人他受到很多的人文环境上的压力，甚至是一些莫名其妙的秩序啊。那这个秩序比较明显的，像法律法规啊，但是还有一些所谓的风俗习惯甚至包括父母或者说你身边人给你带来压力，都会有。那为什么会带来压力？就是他的习惯和你的习惯不一样，但你们要被强行扭合在一块儿，所以你每天你都要遇到这个你不爽的事儿。那这个整个压力，我可以认为它是由一种认知或者习性上的冲突造成的。那这种冲突有很多个层面最广泛的层面，最大的层面就是你夏天想穿的多，冬天想穿的少，你和整个大的自然环境、自然生态之间的一个冲突但是再往下一层，比如说你所在的区域和你的理念不一致，那这块也有一个冲突。比如说你是一个自由主义的女性，但是你生活在就是女性自由度非常受限的一个区域，那很惨就很痛苦我们没有办法一定说哪个是对哪个是错，他们都有自己形成的历史脉络和现状。但是如果恰好有一个人处在这样的环境里，他就是必然是很消耗、很痛苦、很压抑的，对吧？那这个是第二个层面上的区域性的。然后再往下，你这个区域性甚至可以等而下之到家庭，到公司。气象圆融和合，那就是大家一起努力向上。那气象不合的话，里边就有很多的不协，在日常的磨合过程中，要不然你妥协，要不他妥协。但是没妥协的，没有达成一致的时候，大家就很有冲突。那这个其实也是所有人际关系的一个缩影。你和你的领导，你和你的同事，甚至你和你的宠物，都有可能出现这些问题。
Master Xuan Chu highlights how much of our anxiety comes from trying to fit into expectations that don't align with our true nature. These external conflicts, whether they come from cultural norms, workplace stress, or family dynamics, can leave us feeling out of place and drained. Taoism teaches us to be observant of these pressures and to find a way to live in harmony with our surroundings without losing ourselves. Instead of forcing ourselves to comply with the norms that drain us, we should focus on cultivating inner resilience, finding a way to remain peaceful amidst the chaos of the outside world. If you find values in this video, please give it a like and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you're interested in more content on Taoism and how it can help you live a life full of potential and boundless possibilities. And if you think someone else could benefit from this message, feel free to share it with them. Your support and feedback mean a lot to us and help us continue creating meaningful content. Just as unresolved external conflicts can create anxiety, so too can the conflicts within us. These internal conflicts, often between different desires, values, and choices, can feel just as unsolvable as those imposed by the outside world. It's when we're torn between opposing forces within ourselves that we experience some of the most profound anxiety.
但是还有更深的一个层面，就是你自己和你自己的冲突。你自己心里可能有两个看似相关的主张，但是在他们的延展路线上交汇处，它就会产生冲突。 那这个比较典型的冲突是什么？选择困难症嘛。为什么会选择困难啊？因为从一个思维逻辑应该选 A， 从另一个思维逻辑就要选 B， 但是 A 和 B 你只能选一个。其实如果有修行能够内察玄感自照，或者是能够去有机会去反馈到自己的精神层面，去梳理清它的脉络关系，你会发现其实很多的这种你认为发自于你的这种选择，其实它可能来源于你在整个成长过程中的一些外部刺激甚至可能就是小时候你因为拿一个什么东西被家长教训了一下，然后这件事就成为了禁忌它在你的身体内留下的这个印记很深，然后你的行为逻辑习性就自然的走向了逃避掉它那这样的东西多了之后，他们之间可能是不自洽的，他们之间可能是冲突的，那慢慢的这个事儿就成为了所谓内耗的根源。那在人年轻的时候精力充足用我们这个道家来讲，你的精气充足，先天精气还没有耗散尽那这些问题这些消耗可能不那么明显，等年纪越大或者说外部又加进来的信息或者结构越来越多，在这种冲突之上又搭建了2个大楼，然后他们的冲突消耗就变大。那其实如果特别讲核心的一个东西，它叫取舍，你要保留哪些，放弃掉哪些。因为所谓的冲突，我们从另一个角度来讲，从另一个描述来讲，它其实就是执着你像我这个左手拿着一块冰，右手拿着一个火，都想要，那我怎么办？我拿着一个怕热的，我只要去冷一点的地方它就保住了，我就拿着一个怕冷的我去冷一点的地方它就不行了。所以我现在就是两难之间。那最简单的解决办法，或者说某一种解决办法，就是所谓的取舍。但是这块就出现了一个问题，那我全都断了，我是谁？我在干嘛？我为谁而活？那我存在的概念是什么？我存在的概念就是什么都不要了吗？那难道要干掉自己吗？那就出现了这个问题。那其实我们道家的这个思维导向来讲，其实是说你想要这个和想要这个，你首先要想明白这个到底是你真的想要，还是你想要他们本身就是被影响的一个结果。我想要这怕冷的，是不是因为小时候因为一顿揍我就变得想要这个东西了他当时能够帮助我，但是他现在可能对你没有那种意义了，你是可以放下它所以这是要去掉的一个值。
Internal conflicts can lead to a sense of being pulled in different directions, which creates inner turmoil. These conflicts often stem from competing desires or contradictory values within ourselves. Addressing these conflicts requires introspection and clarity, understanding what truly matters and what is worth letting go of. In Taoism, there is a concept called Yi, or the one essential thing. Without establishing this one, there is no foundation for yin and yang, no basis for setting values, and no standard for oneself. Without it, we're left wandering among conflicting frames of external standards, which is the source of much of our internal disorder.
就是以一代万，我先标准到一个东西，然后以这一个点为核心去统摄，所有的东西都去用它来做一个标记，来做一个衡量，我就找到一个我一定需要的东西那像我们在这个入境的时候，最基础阶段也有一念带万念，因为一开始入境的时候根本静不下来诸境驰骋，万物随迁，脑子里面啪啪啪跟开晚会一样一直在想。那怎么静？强行的光说静那我静下来我冥想如何很难的，就是没有任何的依托，没有讲任何操作的方式就难办了。那怎么办呢？那就是以一代万，我只想一件事儿。那这一件事儿过去在修行里面有可能什么呢？ 啊，比如关闭肩白下来看这块，把所有的注意力放到这儿，还有听呼吸关系的方法甚至偏存神的话，我可能在身体内某一个位置去停住用这一个专注来收摄所有的纷杂的东西。刚才讲的是说，我想入境的时候怎么样？它推而广之就是，那我现在面对问题，我不好抉择。那最简单的一个办法是什么？是我先找到现在当下对我来说一定最重要的一件事儿，当下甚至是未来一段时间，比如说几个月或者是1年2年，这件事儿是我一定要做的，我一定要做成的。所有的事在他面前在这件事面前都需要让步，都需要退步。好，那就简单了，你明确了这个东西，然后所有的事就都有了标准。你不然的话，所有东西没有标准的，对吧？我们《道德经》里面也讲长短相应，高下相倾。你没有一个对比，这个东西是长是短，这个手指它是长是短那这么一比，它是长它是短，但是只有它的时候是没有办法说它的长短的，对吧？对比产生的。那这一件事儿其实也是我们可以反过来，《道德经》的智慧就有体现了，这就是那个一，有这个一才能抛分阴阳，有得与失，得为什么得呀？符合它的，和它能够一块儿形成合力的，这就是得；和它形成对抗损失的，这就是失。那所谓的得失也就有了标准了，所谓的取舍也就有了概念了。然后你这个个体，你到底是谁？在这个一之上，你也有了属于你自己的定义。甚至可以认为道家的修行里边很长一段时间都是在不断的得这个一的过程，或者返回到这个一的过程。
By focusing on this one essential aspect, we can create a stable internal foundation from which all other values and decisions flow. When we identify and hold on to what truly aligns with our core, everything else becomes secondary, and the conflicting internal frames begin to dissolve. This is crucial for reducing anxiety because it allows us to set our own standard rather than being swayed by external expectations or the conflicting desires within us. By setting one, we find clarity, purpose, and the harmonious internal order. Finally, let's explore a deeper question, one that underlies much of our anxiety. Are we truly free, or are we simply following a program laid out by others?
你想想，人类社会中的各个个体，你有哪一刻是真正属于你的？你大部分的时候，你的行为逻辑都是被灌输进来的。当然，我们现在叫教育，但它何尝不是一种驯化呢？大部分人是作为这个人文社会中的一个环节、一个单元在存在着的，你不由己啊。所以我们讲浮生是苦海舟，飘来荡去不自由。你能决定什么？你真的能决定吗？你真的拥有自由吗？你甚至都不知道什么才是自由啊。那我们说自由不是说对所有既定秩序的破坏，但是你都不知道这个秩序是怎么来的，你甚至不知道有这个秩序，你就要依而从之，这个肯定不是自由。你有选择不选和没选择不是一个概念。但是现在我们更残酷的一个点是，你甚至不知道你有没有选择，你就像被植入了程序一样，就自然的就去做这个事儿了，就是很痛。当然一直特别迷茫也不痛苦，像机器人好像也不痛苦，因为它无知无觉没有智慧，它不痛苦，它每天做一个重复的动作无所谓。但是人是有慧命的，是有智慧的，而且是有灵光有机会的，它一直沉沦在这儿就变成循环的废料。我们倒不批判这件事儿吧，不批判这个， 因为在这个高速发展的过程中，它对于整个文明来讲，它是有很高价值的。但是作为其中的一个小小的个体，每个人或许也可以多一些了解，多一些提升，多一些机会，就是掌握自己命运的机会。
Master Xuan Chu invites us to question the script that drive our actions. In today's world, we often believe we are free, but many of our actions are dictated by habits, social conditions, or expectations we unconsciously follow. Taoism encourages us to become aware of these influences and reclaim our sense of agency. True freedom comes from making choices that align with our own nature, rather than simply acting out what we have been conditioned to believe. This awareness is key to breaking free from anxiety and living a life that truly reflects who we are. I hope these teachings have resonated with you and that you find something here you can bring into your own life. Remember, anxiety doesn't have to control us. With the right perspective and practice, we can learn to live in harmony with ourselves and the world around us. Thank you for joining me and Master Xuan Chu on this journey. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe for more insights on how Taoism can help us navigate modern life.